It's a common belief in polite society that being a nice person or being hashtag kind, be kind, means that you are somehow a good person. Well, I'm here to say otherwise. It seems paradoxical, but being nice or even be kind to the people in your vicinity, in your day to day affairs, doesn't necessarily mean you're a good person. Now, we've in polite society, we've grown up to believe that it's really important to be polite. It's really important to have good manners. And I agree. But it doesn't necessarily, therefore, translate that you are a good person. Now, why would I come to this conclusion? Why would I say you're not necessarily a good person? Well, I've had many dealings in the past. I've, come in contact with people who were, very sincerely kind, very, seemingly nice people, polite people, even warm-hearted people who also believed in, let's say, a harmful and oppressive ideology like Zionism. I've had people who had bumper stickers on their car saying, bring them home, or the more those who are very aligned with Zionism. Now, this is the modern day equivalent of, let's go back to the slavery era. You had people who were families, part of families of slave owners, and the slave owners were really kind to the people who they enslaved. They were deeply considerate of their needs, and they were kind to their spouse. They were generally good people. They imparted wisdom to their children, to their offspring. It doesn't therefore translate that they're good people, because unless you are considering the institutional evils that you're participating in, you're not a good person. Just think of the movie The Zone of Interest. Now, I've not seen it, but the premise is pretty straightforward. You have a concentration camp. I believe it's Auschwitz, but I could be wrong. But it's a concentration camp during World War II, Nazi Germany, or rather prior to World War II. And you had beside it a kind of a utopian kind of garden allotment, and a community of people who came together in peace, but only in peace for their own tribe. You had, jovial, kind of atmosphere. You had people being kind, people being nice, planting amazing, flowers, and, just living it up, really. Looking at the beauty of their surroundings, of their life. But their surroundings only went so far, not towards the direction of the concentration camp by which they were living parallel to. And this is the crux of the issue. You're not a good person. Not just in my opinion, in actuality, you're not a good person unless you activate your brain and see beyond the myopic perception you have of yourself in reality. If you segment humanity into us versus them, and us is where it encapsulates beauty, intelligence, all the greatness of the world, and the other as mere, at the very least you just consider them as, subhuman. At the most, vermin to be exterminated. And to, a lot of these situations, like the Holocaust, like what's happening in Gaza, is that concept manifested. You're evidently not a good person. And we need to, as progressives, as leftists, we need to really understand that obviously, individuals are not the problem. It's the institutions. And it's the institutions that have made the people evil. Institutional alliances, institutional allegiances. And as Michael Brooks says, be kind to people, be ruthless with systems. Because it's the systems that are making the people evil. This should be common sense, but you'd be surprised how much of a sway liberal centrists and right wing has when it comes to virtue signaling. They can just put on a flag on a drone, an LGBTQ flag. And even though I'm very much pro LGBTQ, I'm very much pro, social justice movements. When you use that as a way to just appear good, in contrast to your opposition, you're just virtue signaling. And that isn't even being nice, that's being very deceptive. But even those who actually believe in some of these aspects, they don't take it one step further. They don't consider, let's say, the bigger picture beyond national borders, the common humanity of everyone. If the moment you're segmenting humanity and you are instrumental, you're supporting an institution that is literally harming innocent men, women, children in a land, and of course there is somewhat of a distance here because they're in a faraway land. But this is the same for, let's say, wealth inequality. The people don't have to live miles and miles away. They can be the road beside you. And if you do not consider the fact that your avoidance of taxes or your mistreatment of workers for unionizing doesn't lead to depreciation, the erosion of their rights, their humanity, then obviously you're not a good person. And it's irrespective of what you think about yourself as a good person, irrespective of whether you think you're kind, and you may be kind to your neighbors, to the people, even your own workers, you may be kind to their face. But the true evils exist in institutions, in systems of oppression. And that's where the real evils. I would rather, befriend a truly grumpy, truly rude person who actually acknowledges the evils that play in the world than somebody who's, the nicest, most polite person to be around. Because that nice, polite person, and also a nice, polite person who's also, bring them home, not really truly taking that into heart. Because if you truly want to bring them home, you'd also consider that a ceasefire is the only way you can actually bring back the hostages. Or, you consider all Palestinians to be Hamas. That is levels of evil that can be comparable to what happened in the Third Reich. So, however, I would say, if you're watching this, be kind to the people around you, even to the people who, if you can, be kind to the people around you. If, however, you have, a moment of disagreement politically with somebody, call them out, be courageous, but don't be rude for the sake of being rude. But ultimately, as progressives, we need to